Welcome back to One Piece Anime Review. This is part 14. This one covering season 15 of One Piece. This one is basically the adaptation of two story arcs. First, it returned to Sabaody, which is basically takes up the first 6 episodes of the season. The next 51 episodes is the Fishman Island arc, which even in the manga was kind of long as well. And the last 4 episodes is Z's Ambition, which leads into the film Z, which this time, instead of skipping over and saving for later, I decided to watch it because, well, the last episode of the Fishman Island arc kind of led into it, and I couldn't skip over it. So yeah. So basically, with this particular season, we had the time jump happen. Basically, we're now in part 2. Right now in the manga, basically, I'm up to book 83 now. I'm at the most one of the most recent. I'm on the whole Cake Island arc. Basically, next season is basically the arc of the start of the first two arcs of a saga I just recently got done with book 80. Right now I'm about to book 83, and currently I have 49 chapters left of the manga, and that's it. Yep, 49. So with the changes, basically, we get certain things changed about certain characters. Let's start with Luffy. Luffy, he gets, well, a couple things changed with him. One, the fact that he gets a new shirt, and he gets to wear a sash. The shorts are pretty much the same shorts he's been wearing for most parts since the start of the series. So, like with Naruto, his pants do not change. Isn't that quite weird? He does have a scar on his chest. Now, that actually was something from part 1. That happened during the Marineford arc, where the admiral who killed his brother Ace basically did that to him, and that's been stuck on him since then. Okay. Next is Zoro. Zoro, appearance-wise, he gets a couple changes. One, he switches out his shirt and pants he used to wear. He does keep the sash he always had. That's still there. He switched off for a robe. I think he's still wearing pants, but he's wearing a robe now instead of his shirt. And he has a scar over his eye, which in the show, and even the manga, they never brought to explain it. But my theory about the scar over his eye is he got that during training, either by the monkeys that he's been battling, or he got that from battling Hawk and Mihawk during the time jump. Excuse me. Robin, appearance-wise, basically her skin got darker, though her chest got a little bit bigger. She basically is now wearing, in basically this season, she's wearing a blue shirt, which is zipped up, which is a blue zip-up shirt, sunglasses, which as of currently she still has sunglasses. So I've actually changed her clothes since then. Kind of like one of those like tie-up skirt things that you see in tropical places. She's wearing that in sandals. I actually think it might be high heels. Yeah, she's wearing high heels. Zoro's still wearing his boots. Luffy still wears sandals. He's worn sandals since the start of the series. Nami grew her hair out. Those some people notice her chest got bigger. And the fact that her current outfit is that she wears a bikini top and blue jeans, high heels, and the belt buckle has a little shiny thing whenever her eye goes shiny, like whenever she thinks of money. And she's gotten pretty much better, and she basically trained for 2 years with the weather because, well, she's a navigator. Though after the Fishman Island arc, she gets new log post, which basically has 3 needles with it. Before I continue, Zoro gets new abilities. Some new sword abilities. Luffy basically knows Haki. It's an ability basically several characters in the franchise know for using. He basically knows how to do that, and the fact he also can use his Haki to his advantage with his rubber body to turn his hands and feet into iron. Yep. But yeah, he's actually able to do that when he goes to second gear, instead of basically just pumping through his legs, he can do it with one of his arms. And when he goes third gear, instead of just pressing his thumb, he basically just takes a deep breath, and then he bites his thumb. Basically, with that, kind of blows up his body. Let's see. Usopp basically underwent the most change. He got more bulky. Switched out his overalls he's wearing before just pants with suspenders. He's wearing headphones with the back of it basically put it like this. He has new goggles, a new hat, And he's got a new slingshot, which is black now for some reason. Yep, it's black. Let's see. Brooke, with the least amount of change, he got a new pair of pants. He's wearing like this fluffy scarf thing, and he switched out his gentleman's hat for. Oh yeah, he's wearing a better shirt now, and he switched out his gentleman's hat for a white hat with a crown with it. Frankie got much more bigger. He's got much bigger arms now, and his face didn't hardly any change, but whenever he presses his nose now, his hair basically changes hairstyle. And also he's got metal stuff on his legs because he's a cyborg, so he basically upgraded himself and built a couple of new vehicles for the Thousand Sunny. Yep. Chopper got a new hat, shirt, and shorts, and he's got more armor points, and he only needs his Rumble Ball now for 1 point now, basically when he goes to his monster form, which he has a lot more control over than he did previously. Let's see, was there any character I forgot? Oh, Sanji underwent the least amount of change. Well, the only change did to him was the fact he switched his hair over his left eye, was previously over his right eye. Yeah, for some reason, even the manga this happens too. For some reason, we're not allowed to see both of his eyes for some reason. No explanation for it. And he changed his shirt. That's really it. Yeah, he underwent the least amount of change. Yep. I'm trying to think, was there anything else I forgot? I think that's it. Yep. The Fishman Island arc was really interesting, though it kind of felt like it borrowed elements from two different stories with this one. It's like they borrowed a little bit from the Arlong Park arc and the Alabasta arc. It's like, and the main villain, his name is Hody Jones, and I'm surprised no one brought this up in the show or the manga, but Hody Jones has a striking resemblance to Arlong. I mean, he looks almost exactly like him. The only difference is the fact that his nose looks kind of normal, and he's actually a little bit more bulkier than Arlong. Arlong was thin, but Hody Jones was a lot more bulkier than he was, and he's a lot more hating of humans than Arlong was. Hatchin, basically, who reformed during the start of the Sabaody arc, he doesn't do very much. Basically, a lot of the time he just basically spends just lying down being injured. But I'm happy to see the guy. Cammy, she got a new shirt. Of course, everyone goes Fishman Eye out now. Jinbei wears the same exact outfit that he was last seen. Yeah, he didn't get too much change. Also, and I read this online. Apparently, the guy with the mohawk and the kind of like the handlebar mustache, who was first in the Ellis Lobby arc, was also in Amazon Elite and Mainford. For some reason, they replaced him, even though he was actually in this Return of Sabaody arc. But he does come back in anime in Z's Ambition, a filler arc, where he's there. He's kind of a secondary antagonist. Excuse me. The main antagonist is an ex-Navy sailor who was a Commodore and become part of this thing called the Neo Navy. And of course, this arc led into the Z film, which I have not watched yet. I will watch the films later. But the Z Ambition arc was basically just a quick 4-episode story of just basically the Straw Hats working with a woman who's a giant, who actually can shrink to basically shrink to 6 inches because she ate devil fruit. Basically rescues her father, who is a master chef, and apparently someone Sanji's heard of, and they battle the guy for a couple episodes, and that's really it. Yeah, there really wasn't much this particular arc. It was just a quick 4-episode arc. Yeah, it felt like this arc went really quickly. It was very fast-paced. I mean, it was interesting, and plus, one of the most highlighted things of it was the fact that the woman who basically can shrink small, basically, when she goes to normal size, basically, she basically went inside Luffy. She grew him giant size, and basically gave him horns, because her helmet's got horns. And they defeated the main villain, and let him and his goons for the Navy. I think his name is Magnolia, I think his name is. I don't really remember the guy's name. Yeah, he has purple hair, and his mustache is purple as well, but he's a very good swordsman. And the guy's a badass. I mean, they even show this guy in a flashback taking out a Sea King by basically slicing him when he was inside the Sea King's belly. Yeah, That's how much of a badass he is. Basically, what they showed him in the Amazon Lily arc, he didn't do very much in this lobby aside from the fact he showed up for the Buster Call. Yep. But this one, he actually does a little bit more. He actually does almost the same amount of work that he did during the main Ford arc. Even Luffy surprisingly remembers him because half the time he doesn't remember people anyways. But yeah, but Fishman Island, this I thought was really interesting, and there was this character named Madame Sherry, and they revealed one episode, even I kind of remember this, she's Arlong's sister, and I'm a little surprised that no one told Nami about her at all. As a matter of fact, Nami never met her at all, but just Luffy, Sanji, and Chopper, and that's it. They're the only three who met her. She basically, even though she's Arlong's sister, basically, and even though she's Arlong's sister, basically, she looks like a giant mermaid, and she has like a shark fin near her rear end. Yeah, that's just basically how she looks. And like Sanji, she has half her face covered with hair. Yeah, and plus she smokes. Jinbei does a lot in this arc. He did pretty much the same. It's kind of like with that Mohawk guy. He does a lot. He beats up a lot of the new Fishman pirates. And he's offered, like in the manga, to join the crew, but he declines because he still has obligations. But he was happy. He'd be happy to join the crew once his obligations are finished. And Luffy's like, okay, fine. Once your obligations are finished, you can join my crew. And even he agrees, basically, having a former warlord in this crew would be really interesting. And I should also point out, though, that for dub-wise, basically, because I've watched this dub since episode 1. By episode 540, I ran out of dub episodes, so I switched to sub with episode 541. 542 has nothing to do with Fishman Island. It's just another crossover between One Piece and Toriko, and basically it's all about saving Chopper. And unlike the first one, where Luffy, Sanji, Nami, and Chopper get a chance to interact with the cast of Toko, this one, both of them get a chance to interact with each other, and they form pretty good teams. And there's even sort of a hint, basically, of what goes on in Toriko, basically about the 4 Heavenly Kings, and about 3 of them basically with him, but the 4th one's in jail. And you get a chance to see him in jail. Though I have no interest in Toriko, but it's kind of an interesting premise about a gourmet, gourmet hunter, basically, who hunts on it's all about food. Yeah, that's the whole point of his series. Basically, it's about 2 guys who hunt down animals for food, and basically you eat them or capture them. And his lifelong goal is to basically make a full-course meal. A full-course menu. Possibly open a restaurant. Who knows? But, nothing else noteworthy. Oh, yeah. Also, for the 4th time in the series, and this happens in the last canon episode. Actually, the second to last one. Nami goes naked again. Basically, get a chance to see her taking a shower for the 4th time in the series. The first time was in the bathhouse. Last 2 times were basically a shower. Basically, a bathhouse in Alabasta, shower in Thriller Bark, and a shower when she was separated from the gang toward the end of the Sabaody arc, basically when Luffy was over at Amazon Lily. That was the 3rd time. This is the 4th, and this time is basically the shower on the Sunny. And apparently, this is the first time I've actually seen the shower area, the bath area for Thousand Sunny. I really like the ship. It's got great features, very advanced ship. It's probably the most advanced pirate ship in the entire series, and it's one of the most biggest ones in the whole series. I mean, where can you find a ship that basically has a solar docking system, where a lot of this stuff is powered by cola, of all things, not Pepsi, but cola, and the fact that the guy who basically runs it, he runs on cola. It's one of the most hilarious gags of the whole series, the fact that he runs on cola, and the fact that basic ships run on cola. Oh, one other thing I should talk about. They basically replaced the previously the whole view thing with these with kind of the same premise. Now, Usopp's was the only one not seen this particular season. I actually didn't see his until like the first episode of season 16. Basically, it's a character's walking by with one character picking up some item on this table with coins. For Luffy's his hat. Then it was Brook, basically his violin. For Nami, it's her log post. For Zoro, it's his swords. For Robin, it's her books. For Sanji, it's his jacket. Chopper, it's his bag. Frankie is his cola. And of course, Usopp, when he can see the start of season 16, it's his slingshot thing, which is black now. And basically, I think it fired plants now. Man-eating plants. Yep. But this was a fun story arc. Basically, the excitement of this thing, basically, this big battle in one area, kind of reminiscent of the main Ford arc, basically, of like this. And of course, they throw in a reference to, also another reference to Alabasta, basically, face out against a woman who's known for drilling, digging tunnels. So they do reference to that. There's references to Arlong in here. As a matter of fact, he's seen frequently in flashbacks. Plus, Boa Hancock is seen in flashback as well. They don't usually have a speaking part, but you do get a chance to see her in flashback because of Fisher Tiger freeing all the slaves from the Holy Land, which is on top of the Red Line, which is basically a connecting continent that covers pretty much the whole planet. Yeah. And one of the most funniest things of the entire season is when Luffy brings the princess, who is a giant mermaid. They say she's the size of an orca. Yeah, this mermaid looks like she's about 40 feet tall, though I don't really know how tall she is. And whenever he sees her, like, first Jinbei is like, oh, his eyes go out. Yeah, first it's him, and then it's of course Renki finds his teacher's brother, and tells him what an awesome guy he was, and he's a merman, unlike Tom, who's a fishman. And he does a little eye gouging thing. And then Cammy shows up. She does the same thing. Though she also has a little tongue thing as well. It's so hilarious. Though I should also point out, though, not only the sub that she called everybody, but with the honorific Chen, she does it also in the dub as well, which, okay, I kind of get the reason why. Because maybe the dub actress who does her probably didn't want to drop the Chun thing basically from it. That's my personal guess, anyways. And one thing really weird about there's one particular fisherman who's also one of the antagonists of this arc. His name is Vander something. I don't remember his last name. And he never ate one. And they also these little drugs called energy steroids. And because the Hardy Jones as commanders ate so much of this stuff, they all grew old and died. While the Stalker basically just lied in a cell. Yeah, and he was knocked unconscious by his own stupidity. And they have this giant ship, which is called the Noah. It's an ark. Now, my guess is that Oda probably based the Noah on Noah's Ark. And it bears a striking resemblance to it from pictures I've seen, but basically of how it's normally depicted in pictures. Basically, it does have a striking resemblance to it, though they don't mention it was made of a gopher wood, like the original arc was. But yeah. And also, and this is something that's never explained, why in the world, because the Neptune, who has a beard and his lips not seen. Yeah, there's something that's really weird about the series. They've done this before in Skypiea. Every one of the characters has a beard and the lips are covered. Yeah, I don't really get why that is. Either one, Oda is basically doesn't know how to draw lips when someone has a full beard, like a goatee or like a full long beard. Yeah, I don't really know why. And yet other characters who have beards, you can see their facial hair perfectly fine. But also toward the end of this, they do kind of hint at the next arc, which is Punk Hazard, which is the current arc come out right now. But yeah, good season nonetheless. So that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, which is basically talking about season 16. Oh, and by the way, I have 4 seasons left now. Okay? But until then, I will see you there. Bye.